like secure one. I'll go
Dress up, bless up, step up and get it. Lace up, face up, I'm here to win it. It's for my city, and the team coming with me. Headed for the championship, even if the road is long. Legends pave the way for us. Since nothing in this world can take it from us. Don't underestimate our generation when you see us coming for ya. And when you knock me down, I'm getting back up. Cause when I step on the floor, you know your time's up. I'm on my way. Detroit basketball.
What up, though, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the King and Do Show. Hope everybody is having a great Wednesday night. I am joined tonight by my co-host King. King, what is the word, my bro?
What's going on, everybody? Let's talk some Detroit basketball.
Yes, sir. And of course, we have our boy, a brother from another, Clutch Points beat writer for the Detroit Pistons, Eric Vincent. I call him E-Vinny, returning to the show. Eric, what's up, my bro?
Good, man. Appreciate y'all for having me. I'm here on the most influential show out here. You know, y'all asked for the final countdown, and they heard you. They heard the blessing. They heard the request. They made it happen for y'all, the playoffs.
Hey, man, we appreciate that, bro. That was electric, bro. Just thinking back to that was insane. Just the nostalgic that came with that, being in the building.
Next time it'll come with some wins.
Yeah.
They're gonna take it away if not.
Baby steps, right? Baby steps. All right, but appreciate you as always, bro. We have a lot we're going to get into tonight, guys. So today, the much anticipated end of the season presser with Pistons GM Trajan Langdon was today, and we are going to break it all down because if you paid attention to it, it became a little bit clear as to what the plan is going to be for this team going forward into the offseason and also long term. And to be honest, guys, I really loved a lot of what he had to say today. It echoes so many things that I've said, that King has said, Eric, that you've said since the beginning of the year. So the calendar year. So we're going to get into that. Before we do that, though, for anybody who is not familiar with Eric Vincent's work, you guys need to definitely get on your game because this dude, man, when it comes to writing, when it comes to covering this team, is second to none, in my opinion. And he just put out an article today, which is talking in depth about what we're going to talk about tonight, which is everything regarding the Pistons' future. So you guys make sure you go check that out. We are going to leave a link in the description so you guys can check that out as well. But definitely want to shout you out, my bro. And I'm looking forward to reading this in depth myself. So you guys do yourself a favor. Go check that out. All right. So let's actually get into this. What do you say? Let's get into this, man. It's a lot we got to get into. All right. So I want to shout you guys out too. Everybody who's here in the chat. We see you guys. Everybody who's here showing up and showing out as you always do. We appreciate you. This is going to be a great conversation and discourse. I'm already aware of that. I'm looking forward to it. And we're going to get as many comments in as we can. As always, if we miss you guys, you post your comment, put it in caps, super chat, whatever you want to do. Let us know and we'll get to you if we can because we want to hear from you guys. So, Eric, now that we got that out the way, you were in the room with us today, right? Take us in the room with you. What was the vibe like today for the presser? Because this has been the best end to a season that we've had in a long time. So what were the vibes like, first of all, when you kind of stepped into the room and kind of just felt everybody's energy?
It's good energy all around, man. You know, the media's happy, you know, the franchise seems to be happy. You know, everybody's just, you know, on the up and up and looking at, you know, the situation in terms of what the offseason is supposed to be, knowing it doesn't have to be, you know, a super overhaul where, you know, we already have been in, you know, first round draft-a-thon mode or take-a-thon mode to figure out who they're going to be drafting, what the immediate next steps are going to be. It felt good to kind of just relax and anticipate some of the answers that we've been asking JB, the players, and Trajan for a while, which was, you know, about the reflection of the team, the progression that they've made, because their leadership has done a good job of keeping them grounded and not looking too far up to that point and staying focused in the moment. So to finally hear the energy, you know, feel their emotion of how they felt with their accomplishments this season, it was really refreshing to see. You know, he complimented the fans, talk about how supportive they've been. in helping this turnaround, making it seem like this is a big cohesive project, which it is. It was good to just hear him feel and say all the right things and knowing it to be believable as well. We didn't come in with this with a 2-page apology letter like Tom Gordon's been writing for the past few years. It's a lot of good energy flowing right now, and it's good to see it from top down. Starting with somebody like Trajan Langdon, who's had a lot on his plate, and he's delivered to help this franchise get to the place that they're in right now.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, didn't he basically say that Madison Square Garden's fans are not touching LCA's fans in the arena as a whole?
Yeah,
I may be wrong, but is that what he said?
I think I started something with that. I asked him about that. I asked him how he felt about the playoff atmosphere, seeing the Piston legends in the crowd, seeing the energy be so tangible in the playoff environment. And he said, yeah, he feels like shout out to the Mecca, they're great, but he said I feel like our fans were better than theirs. Like they brought the energy every night. They were special and a part of this whole process. And there were definitely some, moany Knicks fans on Twitter arguing about it. But, y'all got better things to worry about than this right now. But you want to troll and cry, that's your business. But, I don't think Trajan said anything bad. If you were watching it on TV, you could see the stars not even cheering when it was time to cheer. LCA the whole time, every game was turned up and lit from quarter to quarter, game to game, man. So, I don't think he lied at all. So y'all be upset if you want to.
No, I feel you now. I realize the difference too. Even like when you see the Pistons playing really good defense, and there's about 4 seconds left on the clock, and there's no action that they're allowing offensively, and it's just winding down, and you hear the fans appreciate the good defensive possession as it's winding down. You know what I'm saying? Like even stuff like that, you don't get that everywhere. Facts. So I think he notices things like that too, and probably many other things that we didn't pick up on. So yeah, I definitely rock with that. Let's get to go ahead, King.
I was saying when you haven't won the championship, as long as you have when you're Knicks, you don't know when to react,
bro,
in the appropriate moments. But Hollywooders, man, a bunch of Hollywooders on that sideline. They know how they are. They got their own little ego. And I'm not gonna get up and clap. You see it at award shows all the time. They don't want to give everybody a round of applause. So that's just how it is.
Yeah. Go ahead. E.
I'm a little compromised. I got to shout out my guy, Ben Stiller. He's over on Knicks Twitter. He gave me a follow during the series. Hey. I'm a little compromised, man. I'm sorry. I got to give my guy some love. He tapped in. He showed a lot of good conversation and discourse with Pistons Twitter during the series. Yeah. One of my favorite actors of all time. So I got to, give a little pub right there. Shout him out
real quick. What is your favorite side note? What is your favorite Ben Stiller film? Or appearance? And then we'll get to the Pistons.
It's got to be Dodgeball.
Dodgeball. Oh my God!
King, what's yours?
Hey, I was just about to say Dodgeball, man.
Okay,
Dodgeball. Right. Dive, dip,
bro.
Dodge.
For me, it's not even like a. For me, it's Happy Gilmore, bro. Just a small role he had at Happy Gilmore.
Okay, all right, yeah.
All right, shout out to Ben Stiller, man, for sure. All right, guys, let's get into this, man. I wanted to get to what William McGregor here said. Appreciate you, William. Super chat says, King and Deuce, what up, guys? Was at Game 6 and hurt. Go Tigers, re-sign Dennis and Malik. Yeah, it was tough, man. Tough end of the season, especially in the moment when you're going through it and you know what the potential is, potentially, and you don't get there. It's tough. But put in perspective, great season. Amazing season, right? And that's the most important thing we can do. But I feel you. In the moment, it hurts, especially being in the environment and not being able to pull it out. It's tough. Yeah, it's tough. As far as re-sign Dennis and Malik, you guys have anything you want to chime in there? Any agreement or disagreement with that?
That's the obvious, that's peas and potatoes. It's when you have the best shooter in the league, man, and you got an opportunity to bring him back, you take the opportunity. Obviously, what Dennis Schroeder provided for us, the exact punch that we needed offensively and settling down an offense coming off the bench, and the big shots and big moments. That's exactly what you're looking for in the backup point guard. So, you got to make that happen if you can.
For sure. And go Tigers, of course, man. Tigers are balling right now. Best start, and I can't even remember one. It's been a while. Yeah. Shout out to our Detroit teams, man. Tom, what's going on, bro? Appreciate you as always, man. I see you in the chat, bro. And he said LCA. Yeah, for sure. That's a given. Shout out to you, brother. For sure. All right. Let's get into some of the quotes, man, from today, from what Trajan Langdon had to say. E, was there anything that jumped out at you or that really appealed to you, like that really said, wow, that was big that he actually said that, or anything that just kind of stood out to you as you were in the building? If not, we'll get to some things that I saw and that King saw, but I wanted to start off with you if you had anything for that.
I wasn't surprised by too much that he said. He kind of confirmed some of the guesses and suspicions that maybe people were leaning towards. Like it was a lot of questioning about the offseason planning, leaning on continuity, things of the sort. And like the one thing that kind of stood out to me, and I put it in my article on clutchpoints.com, he said that if he's going to make that big shakeup move, it's more than likely going to become in the form of a trade. That's kind of, it feels like it's common sense. He even said straight up, he's like, the likeliness now, like, yeah, we were good last year, but the likeliness of us landing just a star or a superstar in this offseason is probably still slim to none, and we're okay with that. And I respected that hearing from him. Like, the benefit that they're able to work with now is we've seen growth from every young player on the roster that they've put together. Yep. So when that happens, you don't feel the need to rush bringing in somebody like a Zion or shoot for the moon at a Giannis who could be disgruntled in Milwaukee. The fact that you see the steps from these young guys gives you the impression that they're doing the right thing and that they don't have to rush. And I think Trajan is kind of, understanding that at this moment. He, still spoke a lot on, hey, we're not trying to, we're not trying to rush the process. We want to enjoy what we have and see what we have. And it was just kind of refreshing to see that we were all kind of on the same page, because if he had a Nico Harrison like plan in his back pocket, people probably not going to be too happy right now. So knowing that he at least sees the vision of where they are is kind of refreshing to hear from a fan and a media side with the Pistons.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, like for me, because it seemed to be a theme with today's presser, just a lot of things he kept saying over and over and just repeating. I just kept hearing patience. And I kept hearing sustainable success and sustainable run. Everything was about sustaining. And to me, that was music to my ears because, well, first, before I even say that, like we all know the trade proposals, with Devin Booker, Zion, like you mentioned. And we hear them, but he doesn't seem to be interested in that right now. Because when you just think about the Pistons when they were winning, they always had sustained runs. Bad Boys had them. The Going to Work team had it. And it seems like Trajan understands like how you have to win here. And he's trying to build something similar with this team. He's like, think about the runs the Pistons had. And from 87 to 91, they were in the Eastern Conference Finals every year. 03 to 08, again, they were in the Eastern Conference Finals every year. So it's just the sustained success that Trajan is trying to build, not a flash in the pan. And that to me was like what jumped out at me right away, just from listening to him.
Yeah, 100%, man. I just, just looking back on previous episodes, we've talked about this over and over again. You don't want to rush. You want your core to have the opportunity to, develop obvious.
Right.
I think we'll make some moves, but I don't think it's going to be some huge name that you're going to see out here in a lot of these rumors and these mock-ups that you see on Bleacher Report and everywhere else. I think we're going to add the right guy for the right price. It has to be the right price. So, a lot of the imaginary things that you see out there on social media, you can forget about it. We're going to develop these guys. We're going to see what we have first. And like I say, you look at this playoff push we just had, man, we are one or two players away from possibly winning this first round, so it's no need to rush that. At least one more year of development out of these core guys, man. I think you can have that conversation of, okay, let's see what we can add big here. What I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man. I like this comment too by PD Mac. He said, if you watch the presser, you already understand that Booker, Giannis, Beal, JJJ, and probably Reed aren't an option for us. And he's probably right for at least most of those guys, for sure. Just because he's not interested in doing anything that is going to disrupt with the young core. It's really going to be about complementing and building around that. Go ahead, get in there.
Yeah, he also someone asked him about the veteran additions and where he sees them playing out from here. Normally, and again, I'm not trying to read too much into this, but it was pretty hard not to take note of it. They asked about like, have you started thinking about the decisions of who would you want to bring back in terms of the veterans? Normally when asked those kind of questions, say, oh yeah, they all did a great job, which he did say. He complimented them and said he's happy what they brought. He also did put in the idea of, hey, they may get better offers from somebody else. They may have somebody else that's interested. They may have, a different situation that they may be, having to decide. So, it takes, he kept saying it takes two to tango in these decisions that we're trying to make. So, we would love to, we're appreciative of what they brought, but we understand this is a business and we are trying to take that next step. So, you know, again, he wasn't just trying to sugarcoat everything. And I do kind of appreciate that as well, bracing these guys for the business aspect of this game, which they haven't really had to experience too tough yet.
Yeah. That's a good point, because you always hear the politically correct answer.
Right.
And it seemed like he didn't have a problem just being as transparent as he can be within reason, you know, without giving anything away, just being as honest as he can. It seems like it was more than just fluff. And, you know, and I appreciate that. So I definitely want to see where he goes from here. When he was asked about taking a big swing, you know, I did hear him say that the priority is developing the young guys. And he specifically said between the ages of 19 and 23. Specifically.
Yeah.
So to me, that's very interesting. I didn't know how old all these young guys were. I had an idea of a few, but I looked them up. Cade is 23, Jaden's 23, Asar is 22, JD's 21, Stu is 23, Ron is 19, Bobby is 21. I don't think it's a coincidence that he used the range 19 to 23. When you look at how many guys fall right in that range, that's part of this core. Now, does that guarantee every single one of those guys is going to be here for the championship? No. But it shows what the intention is, not to do anything until I know exactly what I have with all of these guys. I always say it. We haven't seen one game where the projected starting five started. Not one.
Right.
So he's not going to do anything until he knows exactly what he has. And I thought it was very telling that he used that specific age range when describing the young core and, you know, what he intends to do.
Yeah, because like one of those names that, you know, they just put in the bottom in the comments, as soon as you throw in a Devin Booker, as soon as you speed up with a Giannis or Bradley Beal and his horrible contract, like you don't get to rest on development and, you know, taking your time and gradually seeing. You got to capitalize right now, because those guys aren't trying to sit and wait for a bunch of kids to catch up. And necessarily in this moment, those kids might not be catching up. Those disgruntled free agents could be the ones that are holding them back because they're not having the same buy-in, because they're not on the same timeline. Maybe they're just used to being the guy, and now they may not want to sacrifice for younger players.
Right.
Like it's a lot of different things to kind of, you know, weigh in these kind of situations. And knowing that there's so much great continuity with this team, everybody's kind of filling in certain roles with this young franchise. It puts them in a position where, again, you don't have to feel the need to rush, even though I don't think they should just run the band, you know, run it back with the same band. It still gives them the ability to be patient. And I think that's a great thing for him to have to work with.
Yeah. Ken, you got thoughts on that, bro?
Yeah, no, I totally agree, man. And it made me appreciate guys like Tobias Harris too, man, because when he came here, he made it very known why he came here. He came here specifically to be a part of that ride in the development of these young guys, and you seen him take that leadership role last season. So, like I said, guys like him I always appreciate. But who's going to be around? We'll, you know, have to wait and see. Guys like THJ are a huge question right now.
Yeah, if
we bring a guy him back, so we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah. Continuing on with more that he had to say in the same vein. And he kind of gets a little bit more detailed. He said, if our team's age range was 31 to 34, then the approach will be different than a 19 to 23 age range, because guys who are older don't have as much room to grow or time to do so. If you add guys who are outside of their prime, they won't get better, and that will be daunting. So like to me, that's like, that tells me that he's not really interested in the Devin Booker type move, because that would go contrary to everything he just said. You know what I mean? As far as the window, as far as the time, as far as being able to peak at the right time with, you know, your core guys who have the core amount of your cap, like all those things go into account. So I think it's telling when he says things like, you know, he followed up by saying that, you know, he didn't want to let the team's vision's intention waver because of something that sounds good, but may not be good for sustainable success. So it just keeps pointing to what he's trying to do, what his plan is as far as the young guys. I know we say it all the time, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but I mean, just read between the lines, you can kind of see what he's trying to get at.
I'm gonna get a little toxic, King. You gonna like this? It's kind of what I don't love about the teams LeBron has played on in his career. I'm sorry, man. I'm not trying to do it, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I respect LeBron's accomplishments, but I like the Lakers run he had, like, was cool. But knowing you had to tank off your future to kind of get there, it kind of rubs me the wrong way a little bit. Like, hey, being a champion is being a champion. You can't take that away. But if your future comes at the cost of it, if I'm a fan, I'm looking at that kind of sideways. So I like that the Pistons, even the Lions, are in a position now where they can kind of keep building and take their time instead of plunging we have to make this superstar happy or this is a failure.
Yeah.
Like they're not in the position to do that, and hopefully they won't have to reach it for a little while longer either.
Yeah.
We almost hit the 20-minute mark without me having to catch LeBron strays. We was on our way to a record too, but I think the last record was like 13 minutes.
Hit the button.
So
Sorry.
it's improvement. I'll take it. But no, I agree with you though. Like as far as from an organizational standpoint, it definitely makes more sense to try to have a cleaner sheet to really not so top heavy. So I get it. I think from a player standpoint, like LeBron, he's trying with chips.
Right.
And it's like, y'all gonna help me out with this or no? And they either do or they don't. So I feel you on that though, for sure. I'd rather be in a position like this, where it's much more balanced as far as the flexibility with the cap and as far as the product on the floor. It's very balanced. That kind of made me think about what he said when asked about who was going to be the second scorer on this team. And I was kind of surprised by that question.
Me too.
But he was just kind of like, I don't know. And that's a good thing. Just the Pistons have always been good when they've had that unpredictability, that balance. So Eric, you had a kind of a right smile there. Any thoughts on that on that question that was asked there? Any reaction to that, bro? What you got for me?
We'll talk off mic. we'll talk off mic.
It's on that though. I feel it. I'm not even mad though. I'm not even mad, bro. I feel it. I will definitely be asking you about that later on. But yeah, like so it's just the fact that he keeps talking about sustainable success. Like that's kind of what's ringing over and over and over again. And one thing I appreciated too is he talked about his experience with the Spurs and how that continuity, that chemistry, and that consistency in the building every day is something that he really learned from culture-wise from the Spurs, from Pop, from all those guys over there. So once again, it just tells me that he wants to try to keep the camaraderie there for these guys as much as he possibly can. You know what I mean? You think about the team like the Celtics. Everybody said, break them up. JT and JB can't work. For years, they took steps and then they regressed. And 6-7 years in, now they're on the big stage. So it took longer than people thought, but look at them now. They have a chance to go back to back. So because they built that over time. So can't get in there, bro.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right, man. Two great examples, man. The Spurs, the Celtics, those franchises. I think that's exactly what we're trying to do. Something sustainable for a long time, right?
Right. Yep.
When you look at guys in Cade and Ivy, and you seen some of the narratives out there that they can't play together and all of these things, and they haven't played together enough, to be honest. And we've seen the surge that Ivy came into this season. I mean, his head was on fire. He was developing. He was getting better every single game. The shackles was off. He was on his way up, and then devastation happens. So, like I said, it just knocked you back a step. But I think this season he'll get an opportunity to really show who he is. And he's a hard worker. He's an extremely hard worker, and he's gonna take every single rep, whether it's in practice or training. He's gonna get better. And I do believe what he said today. We'll talk about what he said in a second. I just wanted to say one thing though, Pop. Congratulations to Pop on a great career. Pop has been one of my favorite coaches for a long time, for a very long time. He's not afraid to say anything. He's a very real person, man, and I appreciate those type of guys. So shout out to Pop, man, and the Spurs organization. Lakers and 5.
This is how you know that you are like one of the best coaches ever, when a Pistons fan who lost in Game 7 to this dude, he's getting love from that guy. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people can't stand Pop here.
Yeah.
Regardless of his career and what he deserves to be acknowledged for. But you know what I'm saying? That's how you know he's one of the GOATs, in my opinion. He may be the GOAT as far as coaches.
Did that fly over your head, Deuce?
Nope, I'm just not paying attention. So y'all trying to double team me, I do not appreciate it. Listen, we're gonna move on. Eric. Can't stand y'all, man. About to get censored in here. Some furniture moving around, some virtual furniture gonna be moving around here, man. All right, Eric. I did see, Eric, you had a chance to actually ask Trajan a question regarding the playoff atmosphere, right? We talked about it a little bit earlier, but I did see that you had a chance to ask him personally. So I kind of wanted to show everybody that and get a chance to kind of get the reaction to it.
I think a lot of it anticipation, for the playoffs, first time in since 2019. Talk about the fans' reception, having the Pistons legends that came and showed up at LCA. Just your general perception of it.
Yeah, I was speechless, to be honest with you. I've been in playoff atmospheres and a lot of places, and finals with the Spurs and Miami, 2 different times. I've seen first round playoffs in Brooklyn and seen different.
You muted yourself.
Yeah, my bad. Basically, what he was saying there is that the atmosphere is like how it's never been before as far as LCA. So I just wanted to shout you out because you were actually in the building. I'm going to give a sneak peek of what it looked like inside there. But yeah, man, I thought that was great. I thought that was really great. I want to shout out everybody here too who's at those games, because we really did show up and show out as a fan base. That's major, man, for them to have that kind of reception and see how we really do elevate our game the same way we expect them to elevate their game. So I just wanted to shout out everybody here for doing that, because we all did. We didn't just talk it. We were saying playoffs, we'll be there, and we were all there. So everybody deserves credit for doing their part in that. So that's kind of important to me. I wanted to shout you guys out for that. So Ken, you mentioned there earlier, bro, it was some individual guys that he kind of spoke on in depth, and I kind of wanted to get a few sound bites from that. So let's start with Cade. Some of the things he said about Cade, and it's only a few guys that he really talked about in depth, and I thought that was interesting too. But he talked about Cade and how he is the driver, or was the driver of winning for us this year. He said, quote, going against Cade, or he said, guys are going to be saying to themselves, going against Cade tonight, I got to get my rest, unquote. And I wanted to talk about that because for the first time in Cade's career, and not even just Cade, all these guys, but this is going to be the first time for a lot of these guys that opposing teams and players are now going to have the Pistons circled on their calendar. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like Cade, it's no debate now. He's established himself as a star in this league. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody knows it. We've all known it for some time now, but now everybody can see it. But it's not up for debate anymore in any circles. So I think he's going to have to make sure that he's just ready for that. To know that every night now, because for a long time, Pistons were wrote off before tip. A lot of time we would see guys resting, thinking they can still win. Resting their main guys, thinking they can still win because we're so bad. So he just needs to be prepared now that guys are going to be coming at him now, in the team as a whole, with a little bit more edge, a little bit more aggression, because we are this up and coming team. You know what I mean? So I hope they're prepared for that. I'm sure they will be. It's just going to be an adjustment, because for the guys who've been here for some time, it just hasn't been the case.
I hold Cade to a certain standard. You know what I'm saying? And right now, Cade is that Black Panther character in Marvel before the heart-shaped herb. Next season, I need you to take that heart-shaped herb, because I can't be watching Halliburton celebrating the way he was celebrating the other night. You see what I'm saying?
I told you about it, not y'all, but in Indiana, man, I know you can't stand Hallie, but this is why I didn't want to play them boys. Go ahead, Cade.
Luckiest play in history. But anyway, I need him to take the heart-shaped herb, man, and take it to the next level next season, man. My standards for Cade is different from other guys. You have your regular superheroes, but Cade is an omni-level superhero for me. You know what I'm saying? So I want to see him take that next step to where he's just undeniable. And I think, next season is where we start to really see the superstar come out of Cade. You know what I'm saying? You get this experience in the playoffs. Now next season, you know what it takes to win games in the playoffs. I think we see the next level next season.
Real quick pause. Marvin, when I see you, it's on site. Back to regularly scheduled programming. Eric, do you have a reaction to that?
Oh, Marvin. We're gonna let you later, Marvin. Cade has stamped himself, man. Cade has stamped himself. To me, I think he's a top 10 player. I don't think he's any lower than top 15 at this point. What he's done is sensational. It was great to hear so much faith and good favor between him and Trajan, like before the season even started. Like when they had the whole presentation of the StockX logo, and him and Trajan were in sync. They were talking loud with each other, they were laughing loud with each other. And it's really good to see it translate into an all NBA caliber season, for the name of Cade Cunningham. I I think what makes him so different from any other All-Star is his ability to, uplift others without having to be the guy all the time. And even so much to the point now where you have people where he has a game, like, again, he didn't have a night where he scored less than 21 points. And people are still looking at him saying, well, he struggled or he didn't play great. Like, that shows how great he actually is. Like, if that's his baseline, because there's dudes like Jalen Green who were shooting tour dates throughout his series,
bro.
And that conversation between those two is dead. It's arguable if Jalen Green's even top 10 in this class anymore. That's a different conversation. I think Cade has put himself in a completely different realm now. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we do see that work between him and Carmelo Anthony, because that finishing scoring ability, if that does come along,
it's over.
It's gonna be.
That's why I say Omega level. Oh, he's an Omega level threat, man. That's the top for Cade.
That's it, bro. If he finishes that, that triple threat that Melo had, the ability to finish, and not play tired towards the fourth quarter, and at the end of the season, it's gonna be curtains for a while with Cade.
You guys remember like prime Kawhi, like Toronto Kawhi, when he would just go through like peak Kawhi, he would go through stretches where it's like, bro, when is the last time this dude is missed in the mid range?
Yeah.
Yep.
It was just so robotic. It was just like deja vu over and over and over and over again. I think K can get to that point, to that level, to where it just looks so easy, and you can't realize me miss one.
Like Jordan.
Like Jordan in that mid range, to where it's just like Melo, to where it's just automatic. Right. So that's why I really want to see him work with, man. That would be insane. Yeah. That would be a whole nother level. And I want to give him, and we all know it, because King, we both have talked about the expectation level for K, and it's there. But we see what the potential is, and Eric, you too. But I think like I'm gonna give him a little bit of a pass, only because it's his first time in the playoffs. Like, this is Brunson's third time with the Knicks, and he had some runs with the Mavs before that. And Hallie went to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, so it's like that's the only thing I'm gonna say. I totally agree with you, King. Like, I want to see it, but I'm just not. I think like we forget that this is really the first time that he's kind of been here. At least I've heard that. But he's been in the league for 4 years, and this is the first time he's been close. So it's a very stark contrast. So that's the only thing I'll say with regard to that, is that it is his first time. A lot of guys in the first time in the playoffs don't always perform well. But that's not taking anything away from what King said, because he is right. I do think he needs to get to the next level, and I think next year is the year he does it. I'm looking at how all these guys took a jump this year, even in the small sample size that Jaden had. We saw the jump. Jumping up 5 defensive rating points, jumping up 5 3-point percentage points in one season, half a season. Like, it's time. It's time. And I think it's on the way for a lot of these guys, at least a couple of these guys. So 100%, man, 100%. All right. So you mentioned Jaden, bro. So let's go ahead and get to him first or next, because I actually shared something earlier with regard to, what was it? Yeah, with regard to his impact this year and what we can expect from him next year. And he said his jump shot was better than I thought. His defense took a step as well. I think he took a huge step this past season. So you can see in the graphic that his defensive rating dramatically increased. It stayed the same the first 2 years. And then last season, it just took off to another level. And then 3-point percentage, same thing. In his first 2 years, it kind of just hovered at 33, 34. And then this year, 40, 41. So you can see the growth that all these guys had. And that's what's very, very encouraging when it comes to him. Some of the quotes that he had, sound bites, in addition to that, he said he won 2 games for us, and he didn't have a season. He said, quote, he impacts the game on both ends of the floor and in between in transition. And another one he said is, quote, he's going to come back a better version of what he was last year. So, Eric, do you have any input or thoughts with regard to what he said about Jaden?
Yeah, I liked how uplifting he was about Jaden, and his mindset, what he meant to the team. Saying he's one of our best competitors. Obviously it meant so much to him, and really weighed on him to not be able to be competitive in the game, obviously during his injury.
Yeah.
And as soon as he said the 2 games, you want to know exactly what he's talking about. That Raptors game and then the Kings game.
Mm-hmm.
Those are 2 of the biggest highlights of the whole season.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can honestly probably point to some other ones as well. I think he takes so much pressure off of Cade Cunningham. I think he gives this dynamic in this offense, even the defense. Again, I'm not a not listening to the people who say that he's like this like liability of a defender. Like that's just a flat out lie if you watch the games. He may not be Dyson Daniels, but he absolutely improved as a defender this season.
Yep.
And I think he, again, just knowing that they didn't have the continuity of playing that projected 5, knowing Asar didn't really have off season to come into to like gel with Ivy, take some pressure off of him and Cade as their go-to defender because of the blood clots. And obviously going down in January with the injury, like they just never had that. Now they kind of get to go in with the full offseason working together. Asar being able to work with Fred Vincent. I just think that continuity alone should honestly make a big difference. Again, we're all expecting some roster changing and whatnot, but knowing that we've seen the progression from these young guys like Ivy and knowing that they'll have a full offseason to kind of gel together, I think gives them that ability to all take that next step together, just knowing that they'll be able to put that work in as a foundation and as a unit.
Facts. King, thoughts on that, bro?
Yeah, man. Like I said, everything that Eric just said, I totally agree with. One of the factors too that was mentioned constantly in the playoffs, and I wanted to see them do more in the playoffs, is very, very big for a player like Jaden Ivey, which is getting out and running. You know what I'm saying? Transition, man, changes everything. The speed and attacking the basket is one thing, but when them guys get out and run and you have Ivy running down that court, man, it's a whole different feeling. And we just missed that so much, man. I can't wait to see what he looks like next season.
Yeah, but we haven't seen Jaden in the starting to break. 2 of the fastest guys in the league. You haven't seen that. Like as soon as Jaden went down was when Asar was ramping back up from the blood clot issue that he had. They never started together. I think right before Jaden went down, when Asar was playing like 5-10 minutes tops a game. So there was no overlap whatsoever with the 2 of them playing. So like King said, it's just gonna be fun to watch that, man. It's gonna be fun to see how these guys all take pressure off each other on both ends of the court. And just because they all have a willing mentality to play defense, to go hard on that end of the floor, you got another two-way guy who can also give you some playmaking offensively, something that we really don't have a lot of right now. So him coming back and being inserted and infused with that group, to me, is going to be major. And we've heard it from every coach now that pretty much has been here since these guys have been here, as far as Jaden's work ethic. We heard Dwayne Casey say it. We heard Monty Williams say it. We heard JB Bickerstaff say it. And now we're hearing Trajan Langdon say it. He's one of the hardest workers. They all say that about him. I think Monty even said when he was here that he needed to have his mailing address changed to the facility because he's always there. So that's just the mentality he's always had. And you see that from coach to coach to GM to GM. That's been the constant with him. Go ahead, Eric. You want to get in there?
Yeah, I do think when he does come back, and if we do get to see that starting 5 together, it does put some new pressure on Cade a little bit, because I think that 3-point shot really needs to start coming together soon. Like the shakiness that he went through, I don't know if it was maybe just tired legs of having to put on so much pressure with carrying the load of the offense. But I don't really want to give it that because he still played really good after Ivy went down. So I can't really give him the excuse of that. But he's got to find a way to be better than he was. He shouldn't have over nights like he did in Game 6 against the Knicks. And especially knowing that, again, he had Hardaway, Tobias, who was a reliable shooter, Ivy, who was a reliable shooter at times in the starting lineup. But if that kind of breaks apart and then you have to rely on Asar, it can't just be about Cade finding the shooters. He has to be one of the shooters. And then maybe take some pressure, or maybe have Ivy bring the ball up and find, Cade in an off-ball situation to shoot. Like, he has to be able to develop that and be a lot more reliable than he was, because that was kind of a disappointing second half vision to see with his game, unfortunately.
Yeah. King?
I'm right there. You know what I'm saying? I totally agree with everything he just said.
Yeah. Let me just say
I'm nitpicky. I would say that I'm a little nitpicky. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna say that for a little bit towards the end of the show, because I want to ask you guys what you want each player to improve on. Okay. So we're gonna save that for the last segment.
All right, bet it up. We talked about Asar already. The thing that stood out to me with regard to Asar was just how he did not have a full training camp or offseason last year due to the blood clot being out 8 months. So he's going to have that now. And I think that kind of gets missed a lot, not to hinge or to, put anything on any one thing. But a lot of people are comparing Asar and Amin, and they're saying, Amin's a more complete player. He's better. He had a whole 8 months that Asar missed out on of the season. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's pretty big, being out that long, not playing basketball for that long, yeah, it's going to take you time to catch up. So, but I do think that he definitely will. His future's too bright. He's got too many abilities, and he works hard. So that was what stood out for me with Asar. Anything for you guys?
Yeah, and like I said with Asar, the comparison between him and Amin. I mean, since they were younger, Amin has just been a little bit more gifted scoring. Let's just put it out and be honest about it. He just has been. Can Asar get there? Yes, he can. Yes, he can get there. It's all about the work that he puts in over the summer. And like I say all the time on our podcast, I want to see Asar work on his ball handling a little bit more. It just seems like when he gets close to the basket or when he has opportunities down there, he kind of loses it. So that's what I want to see him work on this summer, get better as a shooter, obviously, but working on that ball handle and how to control that basketball, get it on a thread needle.
For sure. I think they're both going to be amazing two-way players. But I think, like you mentioned, Ahmed's going to be maybe the more complete offensive player, but I think Asar is going to be the defensive demon that just takes over the game with his defense. We've already seen flashes of it, but I think he's going to get to a point where he's taking over games at a moderately consistent level when you need him to, just with his defense. Yeah. So I think that's kind of be where they kind of separate. Yeah. But I think they're twins. So their games are going to overlap a lot, and they do. But I think that's kind of going to be the hallmark for each of those guys, offensively for one, and maybe defensively for the other. And I think, hey, that fits us better anyway. So I'm cool with that for sure. So let's go to JD. And there were a few sound bites that he actually had for him, a few things that I see here. The thing that stood out for me, and Eric, you can tell me what you saw or heard. He said, quote, after the first 25 games, he became a different player.
Yes.
And I think we all can agree with that. Even JD, by his own admission, said that later in the season, he recalled back to the beginning of the season and said, I was playing soft. And I really appreciate that accountability, that he just called himself out because he knew it. So that to me, from a 21-year-old, is very encouraging. And I think that's something that we all noticed. Obviously, Trajan noticed it. You guys' thoughts on JD's transformation from the beginning of the season to the end of the year?
Almost night and day. We was on him, about it, respectfully. Yeah. But yeah, he was playing soft. He said it himself. He was playing soft. We just wanted to see more of him out of there. We know what he has in there, in that tank. We just want to see him bring it out more consistently, more dedication on the defensive side of the basketball. Is always going to be an improvement mark for me. But JD, I want to see him work on the timing. We look at players like Stu when he, his first couple of seasons, he didn't have the timing that he has this season. He had to work on that, so that's a craft that you have to work at. And I just want to see him block a lot, block a couple more shots, per game. And I'll be happy with that.
What about you, bro?
Yeah, he's one of the biggest X factors after Ivy went down. I mean, that was one of the most encouraging things that really when Ivy unfortunately had to leave, I feel like everybody kind of took a step up. I think Tobias solidified himself as one of those, reliable number 2 scorers. And then looking at JD, he changed on both sides of the ball. His passing got better. JB did a really good job of scheming cuts by Asar to get to the hoop for easy layups where JD would find him or Ron Holland.
Yep.
He did a really good job of, being schematic with his game instead of just being like a strict screen and roll guy that does the dirty work alone. Like JD has a lot of talent, or JD has a lot of skill and talent in his game. A lot of that dog came out, with his rebounding. It got back to the, elite level that we were used to seeing before on the defensive boards and the offensive glass as well. He did a really good job of, extra possessions, grabbing, 5, 6, boards a night in some spurts. The ones that I think of the most is that Miami game. Like, while Cade gets a lot of the credit, if you listen to Cade's post game right after, he said, big fella got me the rebound to give me an extra opportunity to take the lead.
Yep.
Like that Cade 3, not the one that banked in off the glass, which people try to take credit away because he hit off the glass.
It was open.
The 3 he hit before that was all net. And he doesn't get that without Jalen Duren crashing the glass on 2 7-footers who were in the lane. So JD was huge this season. I love knowing that he is something that's reliable. I know we really want to see, a shooting big or whatever. I don't think that's a necessity that they need to lean on, just because I think they have enough athleticism and great passers to get JD easy looks. especially knowing that he can rebound and create extra offensive opportunities as well. So, no, it was very encouraging to see him take that next step, especially when he got off kind of slow. And I like that Trajan kind of held him responsible too by because again, sometimes you hear GMs and like coaches will say, "Oh, fans don't know what they're talking about. We're the ones that are inside." Like, nah, we all saw the same thing. He wasn't playing great. And it felt refreshing to hear that honesty instead of caping and making everybody else look like they were crazy. I appreciated hearing that from him.
For sure. Can't get in there.
One more quick thing. He's going to mature into his body. You know what I'm saying? He still hasn't fully did that yet. We see all the muscles and everything, but strength are not in the muscles. You see what I'm saying? Strength, it will start to hit during, and he'll be able to do things a little bit better out there. Like I said, on the defensive end, man, him working on moving his feet, getting a little bit quicker at that, less foul trouble. I mean, this guy, the sky's the limit for Duran, man. It really is. The sky is the limit for Duran. He can be whatever he want to be if he puts his mind to it. So, like I said, once his body starts to mature, once he starts to see the game and it continues to get easier and easier for him, man, we got a real diamond on our hands right here.
I agree. I also would like to see him work on his jump hook.
Yeah.
I think that could greatly expand everything.
Yeah.
Just 10 feet out, 10, 15 feet out, jump hook. If he can just get that and just become something more consistently than just a lob threat and an offensive demon, rebounding demon and put back right down, just add a little bit to his game. And of course, the defense. Like second half of the season was, like you said, Eric, night and day compared to the first half of the season, man. And for me, it seemed like he really embraced that this is what I'm going to be for this team. Because he has a lot of ability. We know that offensively. A lot of things he can do, but a lot of things that he tries to do that he gets in trouble trying to do, he can't do consistently. So I just like that he has games where he has 20 boards and 3-4 blocks, but he only took 6-7 shots. To where it's not like the defense is dependent on the touches offensively. Of course, he wants to score, but it was in the beginning of the year, it was kind of dependent on that. You would see him kind of check out sometimes when he wasn't getting enough touches to his liking. But later in the year, it seemed like, okay, this is who I'm going to be, and everything else is a bonus. And that was great to see. And Kate was rewarding him as a result and looking for him because of what he was getting on the end of the floor. So I think things like that are really important too. Go ahead, King.
Duran, if you're listening, run across this podcast, work on your 15-footer. Get off of that 3-point line. I see you all the time in practice shooting those three. Get off of there. Shoot a 15-footer. Get that consistent first. We seen it in college. I ain't forgot. I scouted the hell out of you. I wanted the Pistons to outright draft you before we moved up and got you.
Yeah.
15-footer.
That summer league game, the second, I think it was, where he was working the mid-range and pulls that shot. I'm like, oh, it's there. Okay. All right.
Bro.
He does work on it a lot in pregame. If that becomes a consistent thing, yeah, he might unlock a whole different door with that. That needs to be something that comes in consistently.
Man, yeah. Like I think about guys who you guys remember guys who were automatic in that mid-range.
Big
Dice.
Jermaine
O'Neal. Yes. KG.
Yep.
Sheed. Like guys who could just in that area just dominate. And of course it's going to take him time, defense first, but as he's 21, so he's got a ton of time to work on his. People forget how young he is, man.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. So he has all the time in the world to just gradually, incrementally add more to his game, and he can really become. I don't even know what his limit is, but it's limitless. It's scary how good he can be. So we'll leave that there, man. And of course, Trajan moving forward, he had a few more things to say. He mentioned that he expects to see jumps from guys like Ron Holland, Isaiah Stewart. He said Isaiah Stewart when he gets healthy. So that injury was a lot more serious than I thought initially. When I saw him still on the court after he got hurt laboring, I thought maybe it was just something that would kind of go away, a stinger or something. But once he came out, he didn't come back. So that injury was more serious than we thought. And now he can just get the rest he needs and come back better next year. And then Ron Holland, first offseason with these guys, first, summer camp with these guys, or just camp with these guys. I think it's going to be big for him too. Working on his jump shot, working with Fred Benson. I think that's going to be huge. That's going to be the biggest point for him next year, because he's probably going to come into next season being left open. So what's he going to do? Is he going to gain some respect and open up the floor a little bit more for our guys by knocking down that shot? So I want to see his progression going into next season when it comes with shooting. What about you guys with those two guys?
Go ahead.
Yeah. I think the skills are there. The confidence definitely showed in his offensive game. I think the energy is there defensively as well. He got a lot of the bad calls called on him where he was in position or was reaching a little bit, and just being a rookie, he kind of got the bad end of the whistle with his situation he was in. The thing I want to see with him is just channeling that energy and that aggression a little bit better. We saw him almost lose that cool in, I think it was game 6 or game 4, where Cade had to push him out of that scrimmage because that could have went really bad. Cade said, "No, we can't have that right now.
Yes.
Like, let's stay focused." We've seen a lot of good steps in Cade's leadership this season. I was really, really impressed with that.
Bro, I had never seen Cade push anybody like that. Not the ops. Not a teammate. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, even when he had to talk to Stu at the beginning of the season when he got that text, why would you do that? Why? Like, nobody else can talk to Stu like that. So it was cool to be able to see Cade, be the cool head in the room. Like, he is every bit of that leader that people talk about he is.
Yep.
But for Ron, all the tools are there. The jump shot is getting better. His ability to keep his dribble alive. He was really strong in terms of how he was able to drive in transition or even in small spaces. Like, I was really impressed with that, along with getting to the free throw line as well. I also like that he didn't really play a lot in the playoffs, to be honest with you. I like that the Pistons didn't have to lean too much on the inexperience. They were able to let some of those guys kind of just chill and take notes. And I think that was effective for him, even though he did get, some small minutes in the first half of each game.
Yep.
I like that he was able to kind of learn and not be leaned on too heavily. And, I think that's going to serve wonders for him heading into next season. I'm definitely expecting some good things from Ron.
Yeah, him sitting there.
Go ahead, King. Get in there.
I was gonna say, him sitting there getting that experience is key for him. You know what I'm saying? To see what to do and what it takes to win in the playoffs like that. You can't come in there and play with the same energy that you play with in the regular season, or do the same things that you do in the regular season. Playoff, every single possession counts. Every single game we played against the Knicks was last possession type of ordeal. So it's that important, and he had the opportunity to sit there and watch that. Now, my thing with Ron Holland is what I want to see is obviously everybody wants him to improve with the jump shot. The mechanics are fine. He'll get there. Attacking the basket at a more higher rate. You know what I'm saying? That's what his athleticism, if he masters using that athleticism when it comes to attacking the basket. A lot of people don't want to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? I've seen him go to the basket plenty of times and use his strength and be able to absorb energy, man, and still get the and one. You develop that, you do that consistently, learning how to control your body and take care of your body while you're doing it, because that's key to avoid injuries, man. That opens up a whole different, book for you. You'll be able to do that consistently and stay on the court because the defensive effort is already there, obviously.
Right.
You're gonna start getting a little bit difference in the whistles within the next 1 or 2 years, maybe. They're gonna get you with the ticky-tack files because you just got here. That's just what it is. Everybody goes through it. So, like I said, just focus on that for right now. Attacking the basket, finding ways to score, setting up your teammates. You'll be fine.
Yeah, I agree with you. And that's why it's incremental growth, King. Like, we always talk about incremental growth. And that's why we're going to see a guy, I think, eventually, who is going to have a respectable jump shot, who's going to make it easier to do exactly what you just said.
Yep.
Which is get to the basket.
We talked about that with Bruce Brown, remember? When he first came in?
Yes, we did. Same thing. We saw how the lane opened up for him because guys were respecting his jumper. So we just see how these things work hand in hand. And I'm looking forward to his growth, man. Young kid, 19 years old. Bright future, man. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I had as far as with the quotes from Trajan Langdon. Anything else stand out to you guys overall from the season? I did notice, I want to say this too, Eric. I did notice that we didn't see any Fontecchio in the playoffs either. So I'm not even trying to be funny. It was just very telling to me that no. Like, bro, I'm not even trying to be funny. I'm just saying, we talked about Ron. Like, we didn't see. It was telling to me because he played all year and we didn't see him in the playoffs. So I'm just thinking ahead and thinking what that means.
Playoff rosters usually shrink, though.
They do, but
That's
you don't
true.
usually see guys who play all year don't play at all in the playoffs.
He
Usually
just
guys
wasn't
who are
productive.
inconsistent.
He wasn't
And
productive.
that's what I'm saying. That's kind of what I'm saying. So I really wanted him to have a really good year after what we saw from him last year. I was really hoping he was going to come out guns blazing and just really be that MPJ type of player. Guy just a knockdown shooter for his size, from long range. But we didn't get it. But it's gonna be interesting, man, to see what happens this offseason with a lot of these guys.
No more text.
Yeah, it seems like his superpower just went away. He was a great shooter
Yeah.
last season, and it seemed like he tried to do a little bit more, and that was not a good idea. He just his driving didn't really work out. His defense kind of suffered, and like the jumper went along with it too. I just definitely not the best season for Tech. What that means with his future plans, I'm not sure, but yeah, that he
That
definitely
can
has
break
some
a
room
player.
to grow.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because that can break a player, man. And they start asking players to do more. I mean, we just had Sadiq Bey, remember?
Mm-hmm.
Once they start asking them to do all these other things, man, listen, sometimes when you got a shooter, just let them shoot, bro.
Yep.
Yeah.
No,
you're right, because it's the consistency piece. If that gets disrupted, that throws off your whole rhythm. And some guys don't always react well to that or are as adaptable as others when it comes to things like that. So I understand what you're saying. I think that's a good point too. Anything else you guys want to hit on tonight before we get out of here? We've had a good show with all you guys. Appreciate you guys showing up and showing out. Any last thoughts on what you guys may be looking forward to going into deeper now into the off season?
I just want to say I'm eager to see, some of the work put in this summer. I'm eager to see Bobby Klintman once again.
Let's talk about it for a minute. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because, for the little bit of time that he did get in at the end of the season, I enjoyed it. When they actually passed him the ball, it was nice.
Right. Whenever it swung around to him.
Right. So, but I still got a lot of hope for Bobby, man. He's talented, man. And he's so he's composed
under
out
control,
there,
bro.
He's under control and he's a playmaker. You know what I'm saying? He can really develop into something. He just needs that opportunity, man. I want to see him get it this summer.
I think Bobby has a role next season. I think he carves out a role for himself next season in a backup 3 or 4 role. I think by the end of the season, that will be his role. Thoughts on that? Y'all know how high I am on Bobby Klintman, man. I really think
Summer League, preseason, camp, he got all the time in the world to work on it this summer.
Yeah.
We just talked about Fontecchio. If like his game's not taking a step forward, like he wasn't able to do other things. Bobby was that again. I know it was just one game, but that Milwaukee game where he got in for some stretches, like he was fantastic. The passes he was pulling off, the shots he was hitting, the way he was running the floor, playing defense, all over the place. I could definitely see him getting some legitimate time, at that 3 or the 4. Maybe not, a ton, but maybe 10 minutes here and there.
Him sitting on the bench too in the playoffs. Good for him. Good for him because it's a whole different atmosphere over here. I'm probably sure he was looking around like, "What is this?"
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
100%. I think he does have to get stronger, and that's what you expect from everybody his age in his progression. So I think I did see him get caught for some fouls that he probably could have won it back for sure. Like that was a good foul, bad foul. But you just gotta get stronger. That's gonna come with time. But I think just the fact that he's able to just get off the bench cold, come into the game and be impactful and not hurt you. A lot of times you see guys who don't play a lot and they get into the game and your team's looking for a jolt, but what they get is the opposite. It's like, no, he's not ready. He's not ready. But with a guy like him, he understands the game so well. And you can tell that the game, he's just under control. Like he mentioned, he's under control. He's not sped up. It kind of reminds me of Cade with the thought process. Like neither one of those guys are very athletic. He's pretty athletic, but he's not like a super athlete. But they play under control. They use their size. They know how to play.
Use their brain.
They use their brain. And I kind of get those flashes I see those flashes in him to where he's just playing his game and he knows where everybody is. He understands what to do in this situation. So I'm really excited, man, about watching him next season. And I think, like I said, I think his ability to be able to make an impact, if he's not always scoring the ball, he's going to find a way to be impactful. And that's what I was hoping Fontecchio would do this past year. If he wasn't scoring, he wasn't really impactful. He was just getting cardio. Right. You know what I mean? But Bobby's a guy who can find a way to still play make for you, just do different things for you on the court, even if he's not scoring the basketball. Go ahead, Eric.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was just going to say, there's something about poise in a young player that should not be slept on. Like the way he was able to come in, and you just said, like a lot of young players would come in and think, okay, if I can get my shot going, that can be my impact. Like Bobby knows, all right, let me just play defense here, grab this rebound, help set up some of my teammates for open looks. Like it's not just about how I can get mine to get us started. Like I think Ron Holland kind of had a lot of that in this season. Like it wasn't just, let me, try to find a way to get 15 tonight. It was, what does my team need me to do? Like, how can I play defense? How can I impact on both ends? And being able to patiently do that as a young player is extremely valuable in this league.
Yeah.
to the coaching staff because
for sure.
they kept those guys honest. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? We've seen Pistons regimes in here that just threw people into the fire just recently. You know what I'm saying? So keeping them honest and letting them go through the steps and levels, man, is important. I cannot wait to see the development of those two guys.
For sure.
Absolutely.
For sure. Couple more things. King, you want to respond to this, bro?
No, I don't want to respond to this, man.
Nasty.
Germ and Marvin, bro. Y'all,
Hey, King, question. Okay, real quick. We talked about Hammy earlier this season. And the debate was that, and this is just all for fun, but we were saying who's the better player between Ron Holland and Hamidou Diallo. At this point, with the season being over now, because King was kind of leaning toward Hammy, I was kind of leaning toward Ron. It was like midway through the year. I still think Ron is a better player.
I've seen Hammy score 30 plus in a game as a starter. I have not seen Ron Holland do that, bro. I remember when Sadiq Bey got hurt and Diallo took over, he was giving people the business.
Bro, give me Ron every day of the week.
Too early, bro. And Hammy's he's a defensive dog too. So
he's an athlete.
Man, he's a defensive.
He's an athlete. To me, he's like defensively. To me, I think like Jaden is a better version of him defensively. Like same athlete, but better defensively. Hammy to me is I don't know.
Get out the moment, dude.
No, bro. I am firmly in the present, bro. But that's just my take. I just want to get your thought on that. We talked about that.
Look, Lakers is 5, man.
Hey, you know what? Hey, that's a trump card, bro. That's a trump card. And I can't even say nothing about it. I gotta take that one on the chin for sure. That hurts.
Ant-Man, Batman, Superman.
Hey, listen, comments, guys, everybody in the comments, it's some good basketball going on. Make sure you guys watch some of these games, playoffs, man. It's some really good basketball.
Every series is competitive, bro.
Yeah.
Every single series is just like fun to watch. Western Conference is stacked, bro. 2-8. It's just like, huh?
You got Jokic animated on the bench now, yelling at people. Like, what's happening, man?
Head coach over there. Bro, okay. So really quickly, I got 2 more things that we can get out of here. Andre Drummond is a guy that King has been campaigning for potentially if the Pistons are looking to get bigger, which I think they need to do in their front line.
I don't think
that. So go ahead, King. Is that a realistic target for you? When
he wants to. I'll say he wants to.
He definitely wants to.
He definitely wants to. That's up to the Pistons, though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Obviously, he's playing for vet minimums. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Him coming in here in a mentor role, showing Duran how to get even better rebounding the basketball. Mm-hmm. I would love that. Yeah. I really would. But whether it's going to happen or not, we just have to wait and see.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. All right, last thing, guys. Just looking around the league, we talked about how competitive the playoffs are right now. I just kind of want to get you guys takes on who are going to win these upcoming or these series that we're seeing right now. So I'm going to put a bracket up and I'm just going to run through these real quickly and see what you guys think. So, all right. So Thunder, Nuggets, guys. Denver's up 1-0 on the Thunder. They stole home court and they're in position to win the series if they win their home games. Who do you guys have winning that series and how many games?
I got Denver. And I got Denver in 6 games.
6. Okay. What about you, E?
I can't bet on Russell Westbrook teams anymore. So I'm going to go with the Thunder in 7 games. I think it's going to be close, but yeah, I'm going to go OKC in 7.
I think Jokic is the anti-drug, man, for OKC.
Right on that.
I also think the Nuggets are going to win that series, bro.
They're
a champion.
Mm-hmm.
They know how to win. Of course, they're not the same team. They lost a lot of guys. You mentioned Bruce Brown King and KCP. A lot of their wings they lost.
Yeah,
but I just think
Grizzlies no dominant big man to deal with. Jokic MVP level big man.
Yeah,
they can't handle it, man. And I just don't see him winning it.
Yeah. I think it's going. I don't know if by 6. I could see them winning it on the road again and winning on the road again in 7. We'll see. That's a tough one to call. All these are tough to call. Okay, next series, T-Wolves Warriors. Very interesting series. This one feels like a push to me, but a lot of things are in play here. So we know Steph Curry's out with the hammy. I think for the next at least week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, maybe some 3 or 4 games minimum. Yeah. So they're up 1-0. They also stole home court. do they have a chance to win this series, or do you guys have the T-Wolves pulling it out?
I got the Wolves pulling this one out.
Okay.
And I got this series, going to stretch.
Okay. Going 7. All right. About you, E?
I picked the Warriors before Steph's injury. I've loved Jimmy on that team. I'm gonna stick with him for now, but I think it's gonna go 7 if Steph's not all the way healthy. But I'm gonna stick with the Warriors for right now.
Okay. I also have the Dubs in 6 or 7. I don't know how many yet, but for me, they're showing they can win multiple ways. When I saw the lead increase when Steph left the game, I thought the Wolves were going to come back and win that game because Steph is such a head of a snake. But when they just kept hooping, it was just like they're playing systematic basketball, and they leaned into their defense more. Gary Payton, they got one of the best defenses in the league. So I think they can win however they need to. They're better with Steph, obviously, but I think I don't know. I'm gonna go with the Warriors. I'm gonna go with the Warriors.
Next game is gonna say a lot for me because
it is.
Right.
Ant is very smart and calculated. He will sit there and figure out. I've seen him say in press conference, "I figured out how to beat this team or that team." He's very smart. So that next game is pivotal for me.
That's gonna be fun to watch him and Draymond play that mind game. Because defensively, we know what Draymond is when he's in the playoffs. It's gonna be fun, bro. Yeah, it's a good call. All right, Eastern Conference, and we'll get out of here. Cavs, Pacers, and guys, this is why I did not want to play the Pacers in the first round. Like, obviously, the Knicks are a good team, and they battling with Boston again right now. But
the Pacers are not special, bro. No. All the injuries that the Cavs had is the reason why the Pacers won.
Listen, I'm saying a bad matchup for us.
I'm not scared of them either.
Miles Turner on the perimeter is tough, bro.
No,
that's tough, man. But like
they barely won without all them people missing. With all the people missing for Cleveland, they barely won. It took a buzzer beater.
They won both games in a row, bro.
Man, with nobody playing.
Whose fault is that? You can only play what's in front of you.
Man, they not special, bro.
I ain't saying it's special. I'm just saying that's why I wanted to play the Knicks instead of the Pacers. That's all.
Injuries is playing a part in that Cleveland series.
Go ahead, Eric. Me and King will go all night. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's a clear path for the Pacers to the ECF. These injuries are as bad as they say. No DeAndre Hunter, no Mobley. Garland still hurt. Yeah, it's not looking good for them. It should have taken that Halliburton, miracle 3 to come back, but it is what it is. And Indiana looks dangerous right now based on what's in front of them, in terms of the health of who they're playing. But
they're gonna go to the next round and get beat to snot.
I mean, who wouldn't? Cleveland would too.
Right.
Cleveland would. Everybody would. Like you said last show, they were just playing with their nails. Waiting for the Knicks to get there. All right. Knicks, Celtics. Who do you guys have? And this is actually a competitive series right now, man. It's competitive right now.
The Knicks just came back again. They were down double digits. They're winning by 1 point now.
They're winning by 1 point. Thank you for that update. Wow, this is crazy.
No, Knicks ain't us. You know what I'm saying? The Celtics ain't us. The Celtics been sitting there for 2 years. They listen. The Celtics been sitting there for 2 years waiting on the Knicks, bro. They just came out and caught them in the first game. Things will get settled next game. We gonna get this thing out the way.
I'll tell you this: they better win this game. They better win this game. They don't win this game. Heads is turning. That's all I'm gonna say.
It's a wrap.
Okay. So we'll leave it there. We'll check back in a week or two, see how these series have played out, and see who was on the money and who was not.
Boston won.
Boston won. It's over.
Well, it's 19 seconds left, and it's 90-89.
Oh, it ain't over yet, man. What you got Brunson over there? You see what he been doing? Just saying.
Yeah, we'll see.
That's gonna be a good finish.
It is. It's gonna be a great finish. All right, I'm gonna try to catch the rest of it. So let's go ahead and get up out of here. We appreciate you guys being here with us as always, man. Eric, it's great to have you on, joining the show as usual.
Always.
And a shout out to you, bro. Excellent season, bro.
Yes.
Excellent season, bro.
Appreciate it.
Amazing, man. The consistent work you did, day in, day out, off days, all of it. Like, we really appreciate you, bro, just being a hub for us to be able to have that connection with what's going on this season. Allowing me to mess with the content, to get it out to everybody, like all that stuff, bro. I appreciate everything you've done for us. You've been great. So just want to shout you out.
Appreciate y'all, man. I love being on here with y'all, man. This means the world. Thank you all for the support in the comments. This is always a pleasure for me, man. It means the world. Thank you.
Where can we find you? For anybody who is not familiar with you to this point, where can we find you?
At I am Eric Vincent on all my social media. You can tap in with me on there. Got my own YouTube page, Top Title Detroit. You can check in, subscribe with me on there. Just trying to hover around 300 subscribers right now.
Hey.
You want to run those numbers up? I appreciate it. You can get all my work at clutchpoints.com. All my playoff reviews, I had, on there. I had an interview with Walt Frazier that I'm super, super proud of.
Hey.
Exclusive interview. And then it was my feedback on Trajan's presser that just came out today. So tap in with me there, clutchpoints.com. Trying to be all over the internet through the off season. So tap in with me, lock in. I appreciate y'all.
There it is. So that is a wrap, guys, for this episode. We will catch you guys on the next episode soon. And we appreciate all the love from you guys and support as you guys always do. And you guys know the drill. Detroit versus everybody. We out of here. Peace.
And when you knock me down, I'm getting back up. Cause when I step on the floor, you know your time's up. I'm on my way up and I'm not gonna stop. We headed straight to the top in the low. I gotta face it, I got no time to waste it. It's my time now. Hit me then with time. 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 Me and my aces through adversity, we chase it. It's our time now. Hit me then with time. Hit me then with time. Hit me then with time. Hit me then with time.
All the dirty work, all dog. I'ma dive on the floor.